watching like G-string divas with her, like some trashy Channel 5 movie as a teenager, totally inappropriate. But my home was a open, happy hippie home, you know? So it doesn't really register that kind of shame and about your periods or about your body, you know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. But I mean, what does that serve you? It doesn't serve anything or anyone, I don't think. It's
No,
dangerous.
it is dangerous because you don't understand what's going on with your period. You can't have open conversations. So you think that things like pain and heavy bleeding, you think that that's normal because you haven't had the conversation about it.
It's true. Because what's normal? What, you know, exactly, like until you speak to people, like what's a light period, a medium period, a heavy period, unless you have a conversation, when is there a real problem? You know, when do I need to see someone? And, you know, I think women are so, when they go to the doctor, I think women's health is so under, it's not disrespected in a funny way. And people don't listen. You know, when you go to speak to a GP, often as a woman, as a black woman, I find sometimes I have to speak louder and clear, like, no, there is a problem, hear me. And I'm very empowered when it comes to that. But if you're brought up in shame or, you know, then there's going to be real problems. You can really suffer. I know so many people's grandmas who literally died of shame because they had cervical cancer and they never went to their doctor, and they died of shame because they didn't have it looked at. And that's dying of shame.
Wow. I mean, and it's so needless. You know,
It's a different
it didn't have,
generation.
yeah, absolutely different generation. So how do you feel about your period now?
Um, it's basically, I had my twins. I was one and done. I know, you know, my periods have been, I'm very, very fertile. I'm very like a clock, the day, the hour, the minute my periods are on. I was told by an acupuncturist, your womb's on fire. Be careful when you want to get pregnant. And I remember I never believed in acupuncture. And then I got pregnant first go. I know the time and the location, everything when I got pregnant with my girls. And I was like, oh, damn, he was right. And so it feels really odd that I've had all these years for one go. Because the shop is closed. I'm not having any more kids. I had my two ladies. And so from 13 to 41, I've had all these periods. And it was for one shot, which seems very wasteful, but but interesting. And now I'm 41, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not having any more kids. This is, you know, it can be quite uncomfortable. It can be quite, you know, I bloat and all the rest of it. But also, you know, my body has done its job in terms of what, you know, I wanted children. If you don't want children, that's fine, but it's done. I wanted babies. I've had my babies. I know that, you know, having a period keeps my skin and my body juicy and the hormones. So I respect it for that. I think when I hit the menopause, I'll be nostalgic. I'll be like, oh, it's like an old, oh, hi. You know what I mean? I feel like a friend going, or, you know, they say flow comes to town. That was like a very old expression. Flow is in town. I'll feel sad when Flo leaves town
Right.
in a nostalgic way. Like, oh, bye, thank you for you know, thank you. But it's a very weird one. It's like no longer necessary in a funny way. But then that it's doing its job of hormones and all the rest of it. And, you know, I don't know. It's a very. And then also it triggers your role as a woman. Like, if you don't have children, you are still a woman, you are still capable, you are still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not, and you know, if you choose not to have children, that doesn't make you any less powerful or potent or anything. But then there is a side of me that's like, okay, that chapter is closed, and the next baby I'll have in my arms are my grandchildren. And I think ahead like that. So it's, I don't know, it makes you think of cycles. And I do respect nature and cycles, and it will be the closing of a chapter. But not the whole book, God willing. But, you know, it'd be a closing of a chapter. So it's a mixed emotions.
Yeah, but it sounds like you have a very healthy relationship with your period. It's in the sense that I don't hear that you've ever kind of fought with your period in the sense that you've hated it, or it is what it is.
It is what it is, and I think it's like a beautiful metaphor for life. It's messy, it's life-giving, it's how it is. And I think in a funny way, I think women are very, very tough in a way. If you compare like a 13-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl, I'm being very general here, But I think a lot of 13-year-old girls are women because they have to
Yeah.
deal with this messy, bloody thing that happens once a month. You literally have to get your hands dirty and
Yeah.
deal with life and your body and issues and, oh my God, this is happening because I could have a baby. I think your mind is blown and you are, my husband told me this really funny story. When he was 13, he had a best friend who was a girl. And literally in one summer, she just turned into a woman. She probably had a period. Like, he didn't see her for a whole summer, and they went strawberry picking because their mum set it up. And he was like picking strawberries and skipping around, and she was like, my God, this is so boring and embarrassing. And he said, I lost her because she was this woman, and I was still like a little kid wanting to go strawberry picking and like talk about comics and stuff. And she was like, whatever, going off with my boyfriend or something. He was 15. And it was that thing. He goes, God, I remember then we're the same age, but you're a woman, And I think periods are the same way. It helps you to deal with life in a funny way.
Yeah.
It helps you psychologically, or I don't know. I think I choose to see the empowering side of it.
Yeah. I think I mean, you have such a healthy attitude, and I think it's amazing. And I think it's amazing how the way you're speaking to your daughters about it. And I wish more women could have those sort of open, just matter of fact, as you call it, conversations, because it is life-giving. And it's just something that it happens every day, and you just have to, not every day, of course, but
Yes, I'd be concerned. But it is. I think it also comes down to misogyny. A lot of men, I studied history at university, and all the church fathers. It's like there's such a suspicion. There's a suspicion about the female body, about female, the fact that I think for centuries, people have been very suspicious. You can make people, you're clever, you can do everything a guy can do, and you can make people. It's really scary. do you know what I mean? And I see it from, I'm not going to be self-hating. I'm not going to be self-hating. I'm not going to add to that conversation. I'm not going to have centuries of suspicion cast upon me. I'm going to see it for the divine thing that it is, and that is life-giving, and it's part of. And also, I think with technology and nature, I've moved to the countryside, and I'm so tapped in more to nature. It's really interesting. Like, it's autumn now, and the colors are changing, and things, you see roadkill. So when we first came here, my daughters are like, is that a dead bunny on the road? I'm like, yes, that is life. That is life, girls. And I think you get tapped into the rhythm of life, and your body has its rhythm with a period. And I think we are we're so cut off from nature. We're so cut off with technology. We want everything, you can swipe, you can click, you can do everything so quickly, but your body is on a rhythm, biological clock. It's on a rhythm. And I think it reminds me of that I'm not master and commander of the universe. I am part of the universe. So I see it in a spiritual way as well. And it's like, it forces you to remember that you are part of something. And you know what? I've got no control over my period.
Yeah.
I can't say, okay, can you start tomorrow because I've got a photo shoot? Or can you start next week because I've got this? You have no control. And I think I'm a control freak. And in a funny way, you have to just surrender. Surrender is my new word. Surrender.
Okay. That's really nice when you think about the idea of rhythm and nature, and, even connecting with the idea of periods being linked to the moon, and knowing that, we're coming up to is it the harvest moon?
Yes.
And it's the autumn equinox today. And so a lot of women will be on their periods or coming onto their periods or ovulating. And there's a kind of really nice synergy with that, the idea that of rhythm and nature and this kind of connection to the divine.
Definitely. I see it as that. And that's why people are shameful and scared, because people are often scared of what they don't understand, what they can't. I'm a very spiritual person. There is all these invisible things around us, and this mysterious thing that you bleed and you can have babies because of it. It's really weird. I'm sorry. If an alien came to Earth and you explained sex and periods, they'd be like, get out of here. It's weird, okay? Like, if you break it down to an alien, it's weird and it is mystical and it's strange. And I think that a lot of fear and shame is built around things you don't understand. And, you know, why is this happening? Why are babies made this way? Why do we have periods? What? No one knows, really. And that's really scary.
Yeah.
I think that's half of it. Why? No one knows. I don't know. But this is what I just roll with it. And I think that's what freaks people out. But you know what? We're just part of something, you know?
Yeah.
It's part, it comes, it goes, just like we're going to die one day. And it's just what you do in between that matters, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We've got really deep now.
Sorry. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, but that's why it doesn't freak me out. It came when it was ready to come. It's going to go when it's ready to come. I mean, I'm thankful that I have, you know, to the women who don't have periods and who want children and who are desperate. Are you kidding me? So there's a sense of gratitude. Thank you that my body works really well and that I didn't have any problem. I've had a lot of problems in other, you know, in other areas of my life. I can't control my weight, this, whatever, but my body did its job and made 2 healthy, huge full-term twins. You know, my girls were 6.5 pounds each. They were healthy. They were 38 weeks. They were full-term. Thank you. So I see just gratitude, you know?
Yeah. Wow. I think it's so powerful. I actually have a chills hearing you talk about it. What do you wish that you know, knowing everything that you know now and thinking about what you know now versus what you knew back then when you first had your period, what would you change? What would you tell your 13-year-old self?
Well, I say you're not going to die. You're not dying. This pain isn't you dying. Chill out. Maybe you don't have to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night with your mum. I'd say that. But I'd also say I'd give her a hug. She needed a hug at 13. I'd give myself a hug and say it's going to be okay. I don't know if I'd change anything. I think I had a healthy attitude thanks to my mum towards my period. And just, you know what? You're going to have 2 beautiful babies. It's messy, it can be inconvenient, it can be all these things which periods are, but you know what? All those years is worth it for that one shot that you're going to have your babies. That 1 month you're going to have your babies, and for the 10 years that I'm put on the other side of it or whatever. And that's just life. And I'm really grateful. I have a lot of cousins and families who've had a lot of problems with their period. You know, they've got a lot of, and I'm very, very grateful that I've never been in crippling pain where you just, you know, like Lena, you know, the girl who created Girls, she had a elective hysterectomy because her periods were crippling. I mean, my God, that decision to do that as a woman in your early 30s. So I can't complain. I've been very, very lucky that my body has done its job. It is like clockwork. And I'm just grateful, you know, it's part of being a woman and I love being a woman. That's the problem. I think I'm not self-hating in any way in that way. I love being a woman and I find it very powerful. I feel very lucky, you know, so, and I feel very lucky to be a mum. And I mean, the only thing I tell my girls, you can do anything you want, but please breed. I just want to be a grandma. So, which is really probably not the healthiest and they'll do the opposite of what I say. So I'm like, I see it as a huge gift and a huge, again, responsibility, but I don't see responsibility can be positive and negative, but this is a positive responsibility.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up, are there any last words that you would leave the listeners with about periods and how they should shift their thinking around their period?
See it as the divine. See it as that you're a creature. We're just animals. We're part of nature and it's part of a rhythm. Also, please go and support beauty banks. My lovely friend Sali Hughes, she's helping to fight period poverty, and I think that's something as women we all need to give back and to understand that there's many women in this country, around the world, that don't have access to sanitary towels, tampons, and that we need to be a sisterhood and look after each other. And just know that you are powerful. And wherever you are with your period, whether it's a painful, where it's this, it's that, you're regular, you're irregular, it's just respect your body. in every sense, and that's part of your body, and it's part of who you are, you know.
Wow, thank you so